When did you realize you're not as intelligent as you thought you were? Man. I feel like I'm two people arguing, one keeps insisting we're clever AF, the other is begging us to realize that's BS before it's too late. I tried getting out of the car with my seatbelt on yesterday. I have trouble opening doors that have pull written on them. I was listening to an audiobook and I thought, why is there no subtitles for audiobooks for deaf people? That's just a book. First year of uni. I had it very easy in HS, I was one of the lucky bastards who could ace everything with minimal effort, scored in the 99th percentile in my country's equivalent of the SATs, etc. And then that first year of engineering just took a big ol shit on everything I thought about myself, lol. It was a pretty humbling experience. I'd say it was when I dropped an empty plastic colander, panicked because it was going to hit my foot, so I tried to quickly move my foot out of the way and ended up kicking the solid wood cabinets hard enough to split my toenail straight down the middle. The colander weighed maybe around 1/10 of a pound. It would not have hurt at all. I entered university. Half of the people there are smarter and / or had a better education, and the other half is equally smart as you. Really makes you realize how small your world was. I often use a little bit of knowledge that I know to explain something to people I really don't understand because I'm good with people. One day a young kid at work basically said, I feel like you know just enough to talk about stuff but not enough to really know anything, no offense, and I was like, God damn, he's right. When I tried to put in my contacts shortly after chopping up jalapenos. When a college prof told me I was a good test taker. Every time my wife is mad at me and I think of the perfect comeback, I remember how brilliant I am. And then I say it. 6 months after I started med school. I read a lot, like averaging a book every couple of days, so my vocabulary was good, but I didn't speak to people a lot until I was about 15, and turns out I was terrible at pronouncing a lot of words I read and ended up looking very stupid several times. Bold of you to assume that I thought of myself as intelligent. I know I'm dumb, so I'll never be disappointed. Going from university to grad school. I did well in uni and was so confident. After first year in grad school, I know I am just average. There are people can remember lecture slides after reading over them. It's crazy. When I got slightly more intelligent and could recognize my own stupidity, I might do it again once I bother to learn some more shit. I took all honors and advanced classes in high school. My average GPA equated to a B. Then I failed out of college twice. And I'm back for a third time, where I just came to the realization that our solar system is in the Milky Way galaxy. Honestly, used to basically be a poster child for the I am very smart sub. Mostly because I was one of those kids who growing up was told I was apparently gifted, so that gave me this god complex of thinking that I knew everything. It honestly took me till like the middle of middle school to really suddenly start realizing just how little I knew. I think the biggest gift I got about my own intelligence was learning that there are so many different ways to be smart. Some of the ways I'm not smart are more learnable than others, some I'll always be mediocre at, others I can slowly improve upon with work and dedication. Some don't really interest me at getting good at. Some I'll just never be good at no matter how hard I try. 7 years after I sold my 365 bitcoins at $30 a piece. That's only like 9-10 I never got in my pocket. When I realize how much there was to learn. There's so much to learn, and not even our greatest geniuses can ever hope to know even 1/100th of it. That being said, my arrogance and pride in my intelligence is still present, now accompanied by my frustration with how idiotic some people are. I can't say I was pessimist before the pandemic, but seeing everything that went down this year, it reminds me of the revelation I had in my teenage years. Being an adult does not lead to maturity or wisdom. I had kind of an opposite experience to what I think you are asking. For a good portion of my adult life, I existed thinking that I was missing out on something when I saw people who had a college degree. I always just assumed they knew more than I did and were smarter for it. I got my degree when I was 34 years old. All of my time in school I realized that those people who graduate aren't smarter than anyone else, they just went to school. It wasn't just the students, but the professors, too. It was a humbling experience to find out that there were such stupid people everywhere you looked, even in the places where stupid is supposed to be sent to die. Only my mom was telling me how smart I was. When I was younger, admitting I didn't know something would give me anxiety, probably from how I was raised and would get screamed at. It took some years after meeting quite established people that even though they were smart AF, they would always be able to say you know what? I didn't know that. Thanks for teaching me. It really opened my eyes on who is intelligent vs who just wants to look that way. Back when I was a cook, I was making tortilla cups for salsa. To do this you use a little ramekin on a stick to submerge them in the deep fryer. I dropped the tool in, and a waitress said, "Oh no. How are you going to get it out?" I sarcastically replied that I would use my hand, while getting a pair of tongs and beginning to fish it out. I dropped the tongs in as well, and immediately stuck my hand into boiling oil chasing after them. Somehow I wasn't burned, wet hand maybe, but I now know I'm either stupid or impervious to boiling oil guy. When I searched for my glasses in a panic for nearly 30 minutes, and they were on my face. In 7th grade when I argued with a smart kid that I was not 412. I was 5. It took me way too long to figure out why he was looking at me like that. Every one of my friends all got 34 to 36 on their act and got free college tuition while I had to take out student loans and debt my ass to space because I only got a 26. When I try to learn a foreign language, a baby can do it easily, but for me it's a struggle. When I transferred to a 4-year university after graduating community college, Gauss, Euler, various Bernoullis. When I realized Mt. Rushmore is not a naturally occurring mountain face. Learned I spelled raspberry wrong all my life. Why is there a P in the spelling and I can't even look at the fruit the same way? It's like it's a whole new food item to me and I can't stop thinking about it. In college and later when working as a software developer, I was almost always the best programmer in the room. I was the go-to guy when someone needed help. Naturally I thought I should try helping others with their problems online, like on Stack Overflow or other help forums. Oh boy, I was not ready for the real programmers. I thought my answer was pretty good. Then in horror, I watched the masters pick my solution apart like vultures on roadkill. It was eye-opening. I knew I was young in my career, and that I still had a lot to learn, but this felt like I was back at square one. I keep in my lane now and only answer the basic questions. Opposite for me, had severe ADHD, wasn't diagnosed until the age of 50, that's when my life really started. When I answered this question, thus confirming it. When I discovered this, knowledge is having the right answer. Intelligence is asking the right question. Grad school in Germany, I'm from the US and did my BA there. I used to be the smartest kid in class, had a 3.9 GPA and always spoke during discussions. I got to Germany and wow, their education system is truly better. I realized I was good at studying, in reality, memorizing and regurgitating facts and dates, but terrible at analysis and theory. Literally by joining Reddit. I never thought I was super smart or some shit, but there's people in here who literally build computers for fun. Like, scientists and everything. I will never be smart enough for that. I've worked in healthcare, so I do know something about chemistry and stuff, but not like that. I'll never be on that level and it makes me feel really stupid. When I complained about Minecraft bees dying after they sting you, someone then told me, yeah, that's how bees work. I was silent for a bit. Another moment was when I didn't know what/how Hydra is/works. All depends what you focus on. Calculus 101, I had no idea, took like 3 EAs for me to decided the arts were better for me than the sciences. As soon as I started trying to cash in on my potential. As it seems, you can't sell potential. No buyers. Should have picked a direction to go by. It's not too late. But I am 38Y/0, doing shit I could have done at 17. I'm a software dev, and I thought I was fairly intelligent. I couldn't figure out how to disconnect a U-Haul trailer from my truck the other day when dropping it off. I never thought that much of myself, but after getting some medals in national-wide mathematical competitions, I was invited to events with other kids. Every other guy/girl there was much more skilled than me, and some were frightening more skilled, to be honest. I always think about it, there's pretty amazing people out there. When I started taking upper division classes in my major, I used to be at the top of my class and was praised by my professors, but now I'm just average. Also, I was one of those kids that was always told by my parents that I was so smart, so now I have a perfection complex where if I can't do something perfectly the first time then I don't do it, which doesn't help. I've been called smart, and my IQ is decently above average. But my family often talks about places I've been to, that I for the life of me can't remember. I also have difficulty remembering the simplest things like their birthdays. And back in school, I didn't even bother to remember the names of the other kids. But it was only when I had a boyfriend who would talk about our earliest dates like he remembered everything, that I realized, man, my memory really sucks. The day we opened our business. 2.5 years later we're doing good but gaining knowledge needed to make our business successful, especially during a pandemic hitting our industry especially hard, has been like drinking from a fire hose. Edit, we had no business experience at all, just a passion for our product and willingness to learn things the hard way if necessary. I was so baked yesterday I sat down for a family dinner and tried to put on my seatbelt. I recently got a new boss. My 2 previous bosses came to me for a lot. I was good at my job and felt like a valuable part of the team. My new boss comes to me and gives me tasks I don't understand. I feel like my job has moved beyond me. I dated a possibly autistic man, was a PhD, he was a walking encyclopedia and I just had to use autocorrect to spell encyclopedia properly. I already knew I wasn't the smartest person, but that really helped show me exactly how low on the totem pole I am. Early 2000s, I was on shift sysadmin in an IT support center. Checking backup tapes in the data center, I noticed the PDC Windows clock was on Central European Time, set, instead of GMT. I live in the UK, so I fixed it and updated the clock. 3 hours later, 2,700 call center staff were sent home early because there were no more inbound calls, because, somehow, mysteriously, the PDC clock had been reset to GMT, instead of set. You're welcome, guys. Edit, got the time zones mixed up, again. First year of college. In high school, I was one top 3 in my class. Everyone asked for help with homework. I was able to slide through it easy and always did good on my state's standardized tests. In college, everything is different. Teaching style is opposite, no one cares about you for the most part unless you actually go and talk to someone, they don't know if you don't talk about it, and you are just kind of suddenly dropped on your ass. High school doesn't prepare you for college or the real world in any way. I'm still struggling and I'm 2.5 years through undergrad. Helping my kids with their homework. Now I understand when my mum used to say they used to do things differently. I used to say, "Mum, it's maths and English, how much can it have changed?" But it fucking does. We used to have the magic E and my kids have split something diagraphs or some shit. I don't know, I had to Google it. And they do maths all weird too. I not only now feel stupid but also really fucking old. Crushed high school with minimal effort, didn't try very hard at my Ivy League undergrad but managed a 3.3 majoring in a foreign language. I always thought that I could have been just as successful in college as I was in high school if only I tried a little harder, but graduate/medical/PA school is very difficult and it requires almost maximal effort to stay afloat. I was a smart kid back when I was in school. Later my son asked me, "Hey Dad, can you help me with my math homework?" I was like, sure. Then the question was, what is -3 plus 2x equals 11? Then I was like, oh. Then I pulled up my phone and checked Mathway, lol. Trying to live in the real world after growing up very sheltered. The shock is like jumping into a pool of ice water. There's many things I thought I knew how to do that I was actually doing completely wrong. I'm learning though. I have Googled Google so many times in my life. I also once X out of YouTube to go to YouTube. I used to be ahead in elementary school. They told me I had a 6th grade reading level in 1st grade. From then on I've lost a lot of motivation to read and learn how to study well. A lot of my peers caught up eventually and I learned I'm now just below average. When I started losing my looks, I feel like the correct answer is to say you're not intelligent. But I genuinely feel like I am, and what I find fascinating is most of Reddit, and its users, cannot do the same thing for themselves, especially less so for others. It's fucking weird. When my sister came by, she is clever, damn clever. First year of HS. I'm still in it and maybe because of isolation I forget many things. I also feel like I forget how to speak sometimes. The more things you get to know, the more you realize how many topics and fields there are you have not a single clue about. I was always far smarter than everyone I've ever met, but I grew up very poor, so the local addicts or future addicts didn't really offer a challenge. I grew very conceited until I left the intercity and met my first rich kid and quickly realized I didn't know shit about anything. Your average middle schooler going to private school knew everything I did and more by the time they left elementary. Things got worse as I had to compete with people who tried and didn't skate by based on their high-level education. Shortly after I moved to Europe and the knowledge gap widened since everyone had my same info and European knowledge I didn't even know existed. Aside from Mexico, I didn't learn other countries existed until 10th grade when I got internet. Sounds weird, but in Texas you learn Texas history. Aside from the Alamo, other countries don't exist. When I realized I couldn't just skate through my microbiology final exam. Every other class I'd been able to put in minimum effort and cruise through with B's and C's, and straight A's in my English classes. But I flunked micro, and it really made me realize my whole approach to life was wrong. Taking a graduate-level philosophy seminar on ancient epistemology. Content-wise, I followed everything without too much difficulty and also earned a respectable grade. The moment of realization was subserved by my peers. They would interpret readings in deep, non-trivial ways that I would never think to do and had class discussions that left me completely behind. It was a matter of creative intelligence that I did not possess, whereas I was able to read and understand the texts we encountered. They were able to do this and take those understandings to new heights, and it was very sobering to experience them doing so. I think there are moments of that in every day of my life. Moments like I am so not smart, and then comes something like wow, I am the smartest. Also there is this psychological fact about self-perception. If you think you are smart, then you are ignorant. If you think you are dumb, you are intelligent. It is weird. Still waiting.